In task analysis teaching or training, a complex behavior, such as tying shoes, is broken down into its component parts. In behavior analytic terms, we call this a behavioral chain. That's a big behavior that is made up of smaller behaviors. Another example might be washing hands. In order to wash your hands, there are multiple behaviors that occur there. You have to turn on the water, wet your hands, get soap. In task analysis teaching, that larger skill would be broken down into its components and taught one at a time. The instruction for each of these component behaviors is the same that's used in discrete trial teaching or natural environment teaching. You can learn more about that teaching methodology in some of the other modules, like prompting and reinforcement. But within task analysis teaching, you are helping a student learn a complex behavior in smaller chunks. There are 3 different ways to use task analyses that we should also talk about. That's backward chaining, forward chaining, and total task presentation. In backward chaining, the last step or the last behavior is taught first. So let's take the example of hand washing. If you were teaching a student to wash their hands using backward chaining, you as the instructor would help them through all the steps of turning on the water, wetting hands, getting soap, rubbing hands, rinsing hands, turning off the water, and drying hands. Backward chaining allows the student to complete the task and get immediate reinforcement, which is a very natural consequence. In this video clip, we'll be able to see Candace actually conducting task analysis teaching with Caleb. She's working on washing hands. First, as Caleb approaches the sink, she prompts him to turn the water on. You'll see she points to it or gestures, and when Caleb doesn't respond, she then prompts him by touching or physically guiding him to turn the water on. In the next step of the behavioral chain, she's prompting Caleb to actually get soap on his hands. She does this again by physically guiding him through the skill. The next step is rubbing his hands together. Again, you'll see she's prompting him through this step as well. He then has to wet or wash his hands, rubbing them under the water. Again with Candace's assistance. When that step is completed, Candace prompts him to turn off the water and then gets a towel to dry his hands with. Each of these steps is taught independently. The bigger skill of washing hands is broken up into its individual behaviors and taught separately.